everyone. It's Laura Quinting and Six Wing Productions. Our redneck is celebrating Mother's Day by having a new mom in his life who he impregnated. So he will not be here this episode, but we have a couple of different news articles and our thoughts on them that we have to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one that we're going to share with you guys is, now I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Elon Musk. If you haven't heard of Tesla, then you're basically living under a rock, because every person who pretends they're rich, who is rich, basically has a Tesla, as well as he's done a lot of strides when it comes to, I think he does some stuff when it comes to like flying.
He owns
Like he made a
SpaceX.
business, yeah, SpaceX, and then he's made like, well, one of the companies he made sounded stupid as fuck that I like vaguely remember him talking about. But he wanted to do something with railroads or some,
Hyperloop.
yeah, something like that. Well, anyways, so
Yeah, and
basically,
real quick, just so you guys know, if you don't know who Elon Musk is, you've been living under a bigger rock than I do.
yeah, not just any regular rock, like a huge rock. Okay, so he is pretty big when it comes to social media. He has a Twitter. Well, anyways, this California Assemblywoman hit him with the F-bomb, basically told him to go fuck himself, because he said he's thinking of moving the Tesla HQ. So currently, Tesla is actually the car company that's actually in California. Most of them have moved out of state. He was threatening to move out of state due to how the government in California is taking this whole coronavirus thing. So he wants to move it to Arizona and Texas. Well, the assemblywoman gave him the F-bomb, basically, because not only did she say, well, you know, the economy's already shit in California, we don't need this, and two, um, she tried to make it into a whole racial thing, saying, well, because the assemblywoman is Latina, and she said something along the lines of, well, statistically, coronavirus has been taking out statistically more Latina women, and I was like, what does that have to do with taking out cars? Like, really?
Well, you have to remember, in California, everything's about race. You can't just do something because business. And what was he supposed to do? Just sit there and let them run his business into the ground over coronavirus and all that stuff? It's like, oh, our economy is going to collapse if you move, but we're going to give you every incentive to move by telling you to shut this down, tax you to hell, and everything else. So I'm not really surprised at what he did.
I think he was like thinking of it, but I don't think he's actually done it yet.
No, he's thinking about it, and to be quite honest, he was probably thinking about it before this whole thing came to be. Companies have been fleeing California for years. California is a bad state to do business in.
Yeah, like with taxes and with, you know.
Between taxes and everything else, I mean taxes, um, anti-business and anti-freedom. Um, if you want a poster child for liberal overreach, go to California because they will be the worst of everybody. Okay, people, just so you know, Florida is the Florida is the Republican version of California, and California is the Republican version of Florida. They're both full of wackos who have no idea what they're doing. They like mirror each other in that particular sense. And also, you have to remember in California, they won't let them improve neighborhoods because they're afraid of too many white people moving in with the Latino community. So, you still there, Laura?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see the article again. Well, right now, currently, the assemblywoman, well, she did make a statement on Twitter saying, I shouldn't have been so aggressive about it, but, this corona thing is very serious, and this is, like, not something that, the government's already shit, but having a major car place out of California would not be good for us, which it wouldn't, but,
But they've made it
I
so
mean,
nobody can do any business whatsoever.
right.
I mean,
And they
it.
are opening things up. To be fair, California is opening things up actually more than Michigan. I unfortunately think that Michigan is probably going to be one of the last states
Uh,
because I
your
watched a video
your
today.
your governor already stated it would be the last state to open up.
Yeah, so I watched a video today of these two TikTokers that I watch, and they were actually inside. They live in California. They were inside a Taco Bell. So I think they are probably just lessening the capacity of people inside. But I think places are slowly opening up. As for Michigan, again, we don't have much going
Everyone, just remember, El Fuhrer is in charge of Michigan.
on. Yeah. So that's our thoughts on the whole Tesla thing. If he wants to move his business, so be it. But that's his decision, and he is the CEO and everything. But I do think that moving it might not be in his best interest in some of the connections that he has, because a lot of the people who have money in California do buy his cars. Maybe having it a little bit less accessible will turn them off. It's hard to say.
Well, Tesla's
Because
been
really,
kind of
the
failing
rich.
lately. Tesla's not doing so hot anymore.
Well, the new ones do okay because like people want what they can't have, and they want to show off to people who can't afford what
No,
they
I
can
mean,
afford.
the stock price of Tesla continues to plummet,
I didn't know that.
and their car repair is like Apple getting an Apple computer repaired. I'd never buy a Tesla. They make it almost impossible to fix their stuff and everything else, so I would never buy a Tesla. But I do think we should go ahead, and I don't have very much more to say on that one, but I do think we can go more into the whole stock market part, because that US is risking a second coronavirus wave, and depression economist Mark Zandi warns.
Yes, so that is our next topic that we're going to go into. So basically, Mark Zandi is a economist. So basically what that means is he looks at the trends of how the GDP is going, what curve we're going to be on, and right now he warns of a second coronavirus wave. So currently a lot of these states are actually seeing less cases, but he says that if restaurants and shit like that open up too quickly, then once this second coronavirus wave hits, then a depression will sure to follow. Right now, as of Friday, we're at about a 14 to 14.5% for unemployment. So we can't really afford to have a whole, oh, let's open things back up. Oh, wait, no, we got to shut things down again. Because, idiots like Amazon are not the most cleanly about how they do things.
And allow me to do warn you guys though. Here's the thing though. If we don't open it up, we will get a depression. The depression comes either way
Right.
at this point. It would be less with opening it up. Now, we've already been over on this podcast about how we can't trust the numbers. We've received word and news of them killing patients to get COVID numbers and declaring some patients that died of something not COVID as COVID without even having a test to prop up these numbers, getting paid extra money for it. So we can't trust those numbers. And there's going to be a second wave regardless. We do need to understand that.
Yeah.
Because it's out there. Viruses are going to virus. And with no
But
guarantee of a vaccine, since for these kinds of viruses, vaccines are nigh impossible to produce because the way vaccination works and the way these viruses work, it may just be a bad idea just open it up and let things play out.
yeah, I do think we should keep, hopefully being careful with things. I would hope that people, at least Amazon, they definitely need to work on how they're doing things because whatever they're doing ain't working, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but a depression. Obviously, if we have the U.S. shut down for too much longer, a depression will definitely hit, especially with unemployment the way it is. Unemployment is basically at the highest right now, but with things opening up, especially recently, people have gone back to their factory jobs. I know my one friend, she's going back to work in like a week or two. Her husband's already gone back to work. They both work in a factory. So I do think that give it like 2 weeks, and I think our unemployment rate's going to be a little bit less. So that's good.
Oh yeah,
Cases wise, I'm not entirely sure how Michigan's going to keep doing on that, but
it is what it is at this point.
yeah.
But here's the thing, like I said in the last episode, or last couple of episodes, I've said it in a few episodes, so I'm not 100% sure. My memory's crap, people. But I have said before that the whole reason we're in this mess is because the government convinced itself it could borrow its way into paying for everything that it wanted to pay for. The people convinced themselves that they could finance their way into financial success, and companies convinced themselves that some debt was good.
Yeah.
Because if we weren't addicted to debt, from the government down to the guy at the corner that works part-time at the corner drugstore, we would not be in this situation. It is this
No, we're
country's
not.
addiction to debt that let us be in this situation. Because if we weren't addicted to debt, if we paid people a living wage, and if everyone saved money instead of spending more than they make, then we would all have savings. So we would be able to pause the economy and weather this storm. But we still have
Right.
people even right now saying, oh, some debt is still good debt. And the government saying, we'll lower interest rates so people will borrow more money.
And
People
that's
are
not
losing their
good.
jobs and they're barely able to afford to pay back what they already borrowed, and you want them to go out and borrow more money?
Yeah, I mean, that's why they let real estate people come back.
No, but that's the stupid part. Every time they try to fix the economy, they say, we'll lower interest rates to incentivize borrowing.
I don't understand. Like, a friend of mine was telling me that for real estate, she heard of a couple people who said for houses you can put 0% down. That sounds fishy to me.
You can, but they're terrible loans with extremely high interest rates, and the interest rate is always variable. So essentially, you'll start with a $500 a month mortgage and everything payment, and ends up at $1,500 a month by the end of the year. Half the
Oh,
time.
wow.
Happened to my parents. That's how we lost the house we owned. That and the mechanic industry crashed before the rest of the country did. So around, I want to say 2006, 2007, auto mechanics started to lose their jobs because of warranty work. And really, that's what really kicked off a lot of the part of that was a lot of these tradesmen, a lot of companies were putting out these things to push repair people out of work. And a lot of these repair people couldn't stay in business. So a lot of these companies, repair guys, started to lose money, not be able to make any money thanks to these pushing of these leases and great warranties with brand new cars and the cash for clunkers and all that stuff. It just, around 2006, 2007, the auto industry, at least the repair side of it, took a dump on the repair people, and a lot of them started losing their homes. And they were some of the first hit, and then everyone else realized what was going on, and then everybody else got hit, and between stagnant wages and tradesmen not getting paid what they should, and all that stuff, bada bing, bada boom, you have the 2008 housing crisis.
Yeah, and we're about to hit unemployment numbers close to post World War. So,
Post World War One. And guess what, guys? As soon as you hit 25%, you're at Great Depression unemployment levels, and they're still rising. Any uptick in the market is only there because the government is buying stocks in order to prop up the market.
I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah, the Fed's buying stocks and bonds in order to prop up stock prices to keep the stock market from crashing completely.
Hmm.
It's that bad. The stimuluses have been underfunded in places where they should have been overfunded. Money's gone to the wrong people. Some people got more than one person's stimulus check, and some people never got theirs.
Yes, I heard in one of the articles that I read that the Republican side actually dismissed the Democrats who are wanting another wave of stimulus package to come out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a good idea either, myself.
No, the problem is the government's been screwing up their response to this thing from day one.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I have not seen one thing good happen from them trying to do whatever they're doing.
I've seen a lot of people buy things with their stimulus check, though.
Oh yeah, but instead of paying their bills or putting it in savings, they're buying stuff.
Yeah, like plant screens.
Yep,
Not
and
that
then
that's not helpful to quarantine since you're stuck in your house all day, but yeah. Could be kind of used for like rent and other shit.
guess what? You probably already have a TV.
Yeah.
You didn't need the flat screen.
Nope.
My, I might have spent a little of my stimulus on a couple of little things. Like I might have spent $100 to $200 of my stimulus on something, you know.
If it tells you guys how bad the rental thing is in the U.S., we live in, well, he used to live in Michigan. I live in Michigan, and I made a $2,400 payment today towards my rent that's only going to get me through August. Which to some people, that's not that much money. But, like, think about it this way. A payment of $700 to $800 for rent each month, some people on their mortgage are only paying like 4 to 5. And they have a shit ton more space.
Granted, uh, granted, you don't have in that pot, the insurance and upkeep and repairs and whatnot. But here's the thing: there was this guy online who tried to say how he based it off a $500,000 home. By the way, who the hell buys a $500,000 home unless you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or live in the big city or somewhere like California or something?
Right.
Most people I know buy $100,000 to $200,000, which equals a mortgage of about $500. We put the mortgage at that one at like what rent is. It's like he's got his numbers completely off. He went way up, and this is a guy who charges his tenants $1,200 a month for their rent.
Oh, wow.
In California, though, so
Oh, yeah.
going rate.
Okay.
But here's the thing: month to month, buying is cheaper than renting. And someone says, "Oh, but you have to put a new roof on eventually. Oh, but you have to do this eventually, this eventually, this eventually." And I'm like, you don't think the guy who's renting the house to you built that into the rent? That's what I have to ask. It's like the guy's not going to lose money because of unexpected, repairs. He's going to have all that cost built into the rent plus profit.
Right. I
So,
mean, to me, as a young person, well, I guess, like, comparatively, we're really not that young. But, younger people, I guess you could say, um, I would recommend renting if you're in the spot where you're like, well, I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna be in a year, so maybe you should rent. But if you're like, Tony, or if you're like our redneck friend, maybe try and get a house.
here's the thing. Um, rent if you need to be mobile.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be moving every couple years, rent. But if you're someone who really just wants to like do something online or start their own business where they live, and they just want to, buy a house that's cheaper every month, find a place, and they don't really interested in moving a whole lot in their lives, buy. You see, because then also if you buy the house, you can add on to it, you can remodel it, you can do with it what you want. It's your space. You don't have to ask permission unless you live in a freaking subdivision, which you should never live in because homeowners associations are evil. And you can buy. Sorry, I'm trying to open a pop without having it explode on me. But you don't. You can have a garden without ask the landlord's permission. Dig a fire pit. All that stuff. And then you don't have to worry about much other than paying your mortgage. And if you want to do a little bit of traveling and whatnot later on when you have the time in your life, hey, you have a home base which you own. And then if you want to move again, well, guess what? You now have a rental property. So it's not the end of the world to buy a house.
No, I kind of want to live in a tiny home, but my
I
boyfriend's not
I
too.
couldn't do that. Personally, I'm not really planning on ever getting into, like many people know, I don't plan on really ever getting into a relationship at this point or having kids. I mean, I want kids, but I just don't think there's any future for them. So I'm one of those, love them enough to never have them. And relationships are work. I'm too lazy for that. But
they're a lot of work, yes.
Yes. But what I was going to say is, but with that being said, I'm probably going to try to look for myself a 2 to 3 bedroom house for myself. That way I have like one room where I can either like rent it out or leave for a guest or whatever I want to do with it. Another room which would be probably like my office / recording / build my models, that sort of thing,
Yeah, that makes
extra
sense.
bedrooms so that I can turn one into not a bedroom, but having a bedroom there, then you have the closet and everything and whatnot, and it makes a decent room for everything to be. Because buying a house with a den or a up office space can actually be more expensive than just buying a 2 or 3 bedroom house. Because, it's more fancy and has this and that, I just want a kitchen and a living room, 2 or 3 bedrooms, and a bathroom. Maybe 2. Maybe 2 baths and a basement. The basement is for storage. I'd rather be able to store my stuff at home than a storage unit.
Right.
But with that all being said, buying is cheaper than renting over the long haul and the short term.
It is fucked up that you literally have to pay taxes on shit you own.
Yeah, property taxes essentially make private property illegal. It essentially outlaws private property. But what you gonna do? They're gonna tax you on everything.
Yep.
Like
what you own is not what you own in a way.
Yeah, you don't own your property. You own the rights to pay taxes on it.
Yep.
But
and if the money was being used for, I don't know, roads so my tires still work correctly, maybe I would feel a little bit better.
Oh yeah. If the money was actually used the way it's supposed to, instead of being put in the superintendent's pocket and given to a bunch of people that say they're going to fix the road but never fix it properly or take months to fix it, I'd be all for paying my taxes.
Oh yeah, like superintendents get paid way too much money for not doing a whole lot.
The superintendent, let's say superintendent makes $150,000 a year, but they can't pay the teachers a decent wage, and the schools are all run down.
What do superintendents do? Do they just boss people around?
The superintendent's supposed to be like the principal amongst principals. It's the head of the school system.
Yeah, but like in a day, what's he do?
I don't know.
Because my cousin's a superintendent, and I still don't know what he does. And he got a doctorate for it just so that he could wager to get himself more money. But I don't know if the doctorate was even needed.
Oh, probably not. It's an administrative position.
Right, he doesn't teach anyone anything, so what's he need it for? Other than to say, hey, I got this doctorate, so you need to be paying me more. That's literally all he did, probably.
Most likely. And superintendents do tend to they do things. They do have a job, you know. They're supposed to
Right.
keep all the schools, you know, they're supposed to check on the test scores, make sure what school's struggling, and, you know, they're supposed to manage the school system's resources, you know, but approve bus routes, change school stuff, you know, hirings of new principals, you know, all that sort of stuff, you know. But they have a massive staff to help them do that.
Yes, very.
So, but based on how the school system was run where we come from, the superintendent definitely wasn't making definitely wasn't earning their paycheck.
No.
But that's the thing. The the teachers always get this supposed pay raise. Every year they vote for pay raise for teachers, and then the superintendent turns it around so all that money ends up in their pocket and not the
The
teachers.
only people that I know of who are making good money are professors, and they're only tenured ones that get paid good.
Oh yeah, tenured professors are all ones that
Like
get paid good.
adjuncts get paid shit comparatively.
Comparatively, I mean, adjunct professors still can make a living. They're just not going to get
Right.
rich.
I
But
mean, no one goes into teaching to get rich, but yeah.
no, they go into teaching for 3 months a year off,
Yeah.
and they'd be glorified babysitters. So I'm not saying every teacher's like that, but most of the newer teachers that go into teaching, you look at them, they say they do it for the kids, but really they just wanted to have 3 months a
Have
year
3 months off.
off and be a glorified babysitter.
But depending on, the wage that they're getting, sometimes they're stuck doing summer classes. So really, it's not all that great either.
Yeah. Um. But moving on a little bit here, the guy taking a bath in his oil investments.
Yes. So the story with that goes is he didn't literally do it, but basically he's a day stock tradesman, and he decided to put a decent chunk of money down. He started off with like 66,000 in his account or whatever the fuck. But then he ended up making some bad calls when it came to the amount for oil and shit like that. Obviously, oil's been kind of up and down. At least in Michigan, oil prices have been like kind of weird, like it's going up
Yeah, also
and then
going up
up and
back
up and
up
up.
too.
Actually, it went up quite a decent amount. Like this past weekend, our lowest was 130, and now it's at almost $2. Well, anyways, he was crying because over the past couple of days, he managed to lose be in the negatives in stock, and not even like a little bit in the negatives, like almost $9 million in the negatives. So yeah, he's fucked.
So whilst oil kept going negative, he bought oil stock.
Yeah.
That was a
I,
bright move.
yeah, I don't know why he did
Now,
that.
mind
Like,
you,
this would not be the time I would want to invest in oil.
yeah, granted, you guys, just because the stock went negative doesn't mean you're in debt. It just means the stock is negative. Um,
Right.
you
Not to
don't.
say that, being negative 9 million ish in stock is
Oh no,
good.
that's not good. But it's not like he borrowed that money
Right.
or bet that money. Unless he did borrow that money and
No, he
lost.
didn't.
So you see, essentially, he's just out 77 grand and they went negative. He doesn't owe
Yeah.
anybody any money
Right. He doesn't.
because that's not how stocks work. You know.
No, to our viewers, if there is any viewers out there right now, please don't invest in stock if you don't have a shit ton of money to, do so. Because people who invest in stock, if you have like debts and shit like that, we don't recommend that. Most people who invest in stock have money to burn. If
Yeah.
to
Well,
put it
like here,
loosely.
I'll give you guys one thing. Okay, it's kind of going out the window, but a few days ago, or maybe a few days ago, I went on my Robinhood app and I spent $10 and bought some Bitcoin. Here's how volatile the market is right now. A few days ago, I was up to about $22 and some change on my overall investing. Now my overall investing is down to $20.70. So I went from $20 and I gained $1 and then I lost it within a couple of days. And now I'm slowly gaining it again. That's mostly because Bitcoin is like kind of stabilized right now. But a lot of things are still like plummeting. So unless you have money to burn, I wouldn't go into stocks and whatnot. Mostly what I did was I needed to stick some money in a cash management account to get some interest type stuff from Robinhood. So then I took some of that money and bought a little bit of Bitcoin because I could spare $10. You know.
I was thinking about doing Bitcoin and copy trading myself, but then I was just like, yeah, I
But
don't
that's the
know.
thing. I only did it, okay, there's the $10, but it's mostly stable, so I know I'm probably not gonna really lose any money. You know, I'm probably not gonna gain any either. But ooh, I'm out $10. Whoopee, I can't go to McDonald's one more time this month. You know?
Yeah, I mean
It's
it's
not
not that much.
You see, I may do some stupid, hey, let's go play around with a few small little penny stocks and whatnot, but I don't put hundreds and thousands of dollars into it. I put very
Yeah,
small investments to see what they do, and then that's how I learn what's going to work and what's not going to work. That way, when I have the money to do the big investments, I can take what worked on the small scale and, magnify it onto a larger scale. That way, when I do have the money and stuff to take the big risks, I know what I'm doing. Because I'd rather lose $10 or $20 screwing around with the stock market than lose $100,000.
that's how I felt about going to the casino. The one time that I did go, put in $20, got back 13, and I was like, yeah, I don't find this enjoyable.
Yeah, so it's one of those things, guys. Stocks, gambling, that sort of stuff. Fine, but don't mortgage your house and bankrupt yourself doing it. That's the thing. You got to be smart about it.
Like maybe invest in stocks if you know you have like legitimately like a decent amount of money coming in like on the regular. But if you just happen to get lucky and get into some money, maybe try to save it.
And really, worst comes to worst, right now, Robinhood, I'm actually off their waiting list, and I have a cash management account that gives me 0.3% interest right now. It was at like 3%, 2 or 3% interest, but it got dropped because the Fed dropped those interest rates. But my interest compounds daily, so my regular bank account's only like 0.1%. So it's like triple what my bank gives me on my regular savings account in Robinhood. So worst comes to worst, if I start to see that go way below the $20, I got 10 of my $20 in the cash management account. I just take that other 10, pull it back out of Bitcoin into cash management, and then I just let it sit there and collect interest,
That's not
compounding
bad.
daily. So I'm not really risking a whole lot of money.
No.
And they're sending me an actual debit card that can withdraw money from the cash account like a bank account.
So are
So
you just putting more money
I'm going to start
in?
putting some more money into the cash account here as I can spare it to try to get the more interest.
Okay.
Because I can get the higher interest out of there. So, but I haven't really messed around with it too much. I just tossed $20 in there. I'm going to see what it does and whatnot. But once I can afford to do it and not have, because the thing is, with the bank account, with the savings and checking account, they're interchangeable, so I don't have to pay like extra fees to pull out of that savings account to my bank account through electronic transfer. I can set up automatic, and then my bank account is about to go negative. It can just pull out of my savings automatically. You know, that sort of thing. It's already there to take care of it.
Yeah.
Where Robinhood, to transfer it back and forth, it takes a few days for the transfer to go through. And you gotta wait for one to finalize before you can do another one. So there's advantages and disadvantages.
Right.
The important part is not to get overexcited about it and put all your eggs in one basket, as it were. So I'm starting to look at some investing. I did finally get through to file my first voucher for unemployment, but it didn't show me. It said 0 payout, 0 whatever, so I don't know if that means I'm not going to get anything or it hasn't completely processed yet. So, but depending on what it says, if it doesn't give me anything and I don't get the X 600 from the federal government, then it's going to become a whole, okay, well then I guess instead of doing unemployment, I'm going to stop filing for unemployment and go do Instacart orders whenever I'm not working at my regular job. So say I work Monday through Wednesday at my regular job. Well, guess what? Thursday, Friday, and maybe even Saturday, I'm going to be doing grocery shopping for people to make some money. I gotta make ends meet. I gotta get myself out of debt. And even in this time, you can still make money.
Yep.
You
A lot of
just gotta
people are
find it.
doing deliveries.
And I'm not quitting my regular full-time job. That's definitely not even an option. But what I am going to be doing is trying to start doing some extra side stuff to try to get some money together and whatnot. Yeah, it just said my entitlement after filing, my entitlement is $0, total paid $0. So I don't know if I'll still get the 600 and that just from Fed and that just doesn't show up in here, or what it means. So I'll be waiting till whenever they would normally, pay it and whatnot. After credits and deductions, $0. Okay. So, they essentially, I made too much money, so they took anything away. But apparently you're supposed to, it's not showing the supposed federal stuff, so I might still get the federal money. I'm just going to have to, wait till whenever they normally pay out that sort of stuff.
How's taxes work for Instacart?
It's a 1099.
Okay, but like when you do your orders and shit, don't they have fees for the orders? Like you don't completely get all of the money, or how's that work?
I get paid a batch payment plus a tip.
Okay, so then when you
And
do
then they take all
the
that,
taxes,
put it in a 1090. They put all that into a 1099 form and send it to me.
okay, gotcha.
And then I file my personal taxes with a 1099. Essentially, what I'm doing right now to make extra money is going to make my taxes a bitch this year or next year.
Yeah.
But you got to do what you got to do to make some money. And I can make $60 in like 4 hours doing Instacart if I take the right orders and get the timing down on that stuff. And as I do it, I'll get better at it. But here's the thing. With that being said, you can make money in this economy. You just have to know where to look.
Yeah, I don't really like understand these people saying like, oh, I need I know they opened up food stamps to be more accessible to people, but I'm just like, see, I would maybe do it if I knew I was hurting, but I want to save that for people right now who I know are hurting. Like, people are taking advantage of this shit. Like, some people that I know are on food stamps who have jobs still. Why the fuck are you on food stamps?
Because they don't make enough with their jobs not to be. And to be quite honest, Laura, the government is just going to keep handing out money to people and enabling people, so better take advantage of it while you can. Everybody else is doing it. Society, by everyone else doing it, society has determined that it's morally acceptable. So you have no obligation not to also take advantage. In fact, you're just hurting yourself by not taking advantage. But then again, I also feel what you're saying, because for me, it's not a moral thing, it's a pride thing.
See,
like, I take pride in always having been employed. I've never been unemployed. I take pride in paying for my own food. I take pride in paying all my bills on time.
And I get that pride thing too, because I don't know if what our viewers' view is on, working and stuff like that. But me and Tony are the type of people who, unless shit hits the fan faster than we imagine it to, we do not want to ask for help. It's one of the last things we want to do, actually. And, you know, like Tony being my good friend, if he didn't need the money from me for rent, he wouldn't have asked because it's a pride thing.
No, I wouldn't have asked. I just needed the money from you, and that was my food money while you were
And
living with
like
me.
with me, if I had a shit ton of money to give away, I certainly would have given him more in rent than I did. But I didn't. So, but we're also to the point where like we both have jobs and we don't want to have to rely on other people and be like, oh, well, I'm gonna live off the system, live off the government because, like, fuck people.
And I have learned that you can't rely on other people.
No, you can't because they just end up backstabbing you
I mean,
later.
look at what happened when I was in Michigan before I moved to Indiana. I got backstabbed by like 2 or 3 different people at one time because I ended up in the position I'm in right now because part of my plan relied on other people. And I
Exactly.
learned the hard way. You have to
And
have
you
self-reliance.
trusted a dude that was as unsafe as they came.
That was my screw up. But we
I
all
would have
make them.
trusted 6ix9ine before I would have trusted that dude. And that's saying something.
Well, he was kind of he wasn't my first choice for a roommate, Laura. He was just the only one who said yes in time.
Yeah.
So I was on a time crunch, but like I said, my entire situation is for me having to react to other people's decisions.
Yes.
Because I had a plan and everything was working out until other people's decisions and other people's actions forced me to take reactionary measures that screwed me over in the end.
Yep.
So, and I'm not trying to blame other people for my situation. I should have been more prepared. I should have worked harder. I should have gone off and gotten that other job, found that other job sooner as I could instead of trying to settle in and say, hey, everything's going good, and trying to balance it out. I tried to force something to work by using reliance on other people to prop it up, and it didn't work out that way.
And never rely on other people because, when they fail you, it's you that's on your ass.
And also, another thing to say, I always keep my commitments to other people when it affects their lives. Like, I might not keep my commitment to us going to hang out for a movie or go get a bite to eat and hang out or something like that. Something might come up. But if I say I'm going to pay you some money and pay you back, I pay you some money and I pay you back on time, even if it hurts me and I can't really afford to do it. Because if I don't pay you back, that affects you.
Right. And, you're living up to your word. And as people should, they don't understand it. They're like, oh, well, why does it matter if, like, we take advantage of the government? The money's free. Guys, it's not fucking free. It's coming out of other people's taxes.
And when you start going back to work, it's going to be coming out of your taxes, too.
Like, people do not realize, like, even before this whole pandemic, people who are on, like, food stamps, people who, like, get, their disability checks and shit, that's not free. You might be getting the money, but the rest of us still gotta work our asses off so that the economy can keep going and so you can keep getting your money.
Yeah, someone's got to work and pay the taxes for it.
So, yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to say no to government money if they offer it to me. Money's money. I need money. But I'm also not going to ask for it. Like, personally, if I didn't know about the amount of extra money from the federal government for that $600 a month and I need to get something taken care of, I wouldn't be going for unemployment first. I'd be doing the Instacart first.
Right.
But if I can get that extra money from the federal government, that's far more than I'm going to make in 2 or 3 days on Instacart, and I can have taxes taken out, and the taxes aren't as bad on that as they would be if I didn't get it. If I did Instacart, essentially, my filing for partial unemployment was a financial decision for my best
Right, because you
interest.
have a shit ton of debt to pay off.
Exactly. I need to make the most amount of money I can, especially in this particular situation. Like, I could use that money to pay off some debts, but what I would probably do instead of just flat paying off debts is I would put that money back because my minimum payments are so much less than the actual debt. Put it in the savings account, let it sit there, collect some interest, and then when this is all over and I'm back to work, I can take that extra money and pay off debts. Or if I don't get back to work, hey, I still have this money saved up that I can still pay my debts, at least at the minimum payments.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that. But I'll make money. I'll find a way to make it through this. If I gotta do Instacart stuff, if I gotta go start doing DoorDash and freaking Uber, I will make it through. I
Yeah,
might
they
never be
opened up
home.
Uber again?
Huh?
They opened up Uber again?
I didn't know if we opened up Uber again. I was just using it as an example.
Oh, right.
Everyone says, I'll go drive Uber. I don't think it's
Yeah.
opened up again, but you get my drift. Uber, DoorDash, stuff like that.
Grubhub, where...
Grubhub.
Oh, one of the articles I was going to mention, there was this guy who said he showed the amount of money that he made in sales from Grubhub. It was about $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And with fees and all that other extra shit that Grubhub charges for like delivery and yada yada, he did not even take home $400 of sales. So delivery services are not very profitable to an actual business. Now, I do believe, if it's the only thing keeping you afloat, then yeah, probably use it. But, in the long run,
Oh
they're
yeah,
not really the
and
answer.
Kroger and all those places was trying to distance himself from Instacart because of a lot of problems that Instacart's had, and the fact that it's cheaper and they have more control doing their own delivery service.
Yeah, I think Family
But
Fare does their own delivery
but
service.
here's
Like, a
the
lot of
thing.
people do curbside.
I don't think Instacart or Shipped or anything like that are going anywhere anytime soon.
I don't think so.
They just won't be the only option. It's just going to be more competition. You're not going to make as much money doing them, but they'll still be around. And I think the gig economy is great for people like me who have a full-time job, who work a second shift, but because of the unpredictable Saturday schedule, they can't just go get a weekend job because
Right.
they're going to end up losing it the minute they have to work a bunch of Saturdays in the row at their much higher paying regular job.
Like, that's why I'm happy that merchandising exists, because, like, the scheduling, I can kind of pick my hours, pick my location, and be like, okay, well, this is already scheduled out for me. I have this day, and this day that I can go drive and do my shit in the morning, and then because my work on the hours are, like, kind of different on the weekends and different on the weekdays, most of the time I do second shift weekdays, and then first shift weekends, it doesn't make sense to have another full-time job for me.
Yeah,
So having a side job is helpful.
yeah, and here's the thing too. If I didn't have as many bills as I do to pay and all the debts and whatnot, I'd probably just do gig work.
Right.
I've realized the flexibility is awesome. You pick
Yeah,
when
I
you want
like
to
it.
work, and you can just make what you need to make to pay your bills and pay the taxes, and you're good to go. I mean, you might end up working all these hours, but and then you have places like California want to unionize the gig workers and make them pay this and that and other thing, but it's like people don't do gig work for the pay. They do it
No.
they do it as a side gig on top of their regular job, or because they like the flexibility.
And some people, like, if they're old and shit, like, I was working with a couple merchandisers some months back, and they literally travel all over the U.S. and do gig work just so that they can, like, see different places. Like, their hotels and shit are covered, their food's covered.
And think about this too, though. Like me, I could now that I have a 2012 Impala that can pass a safety check and what an inspection and whatnot. Um, I could do Uber or Lyft,
Yeah.
and if they were open. What if I was disabled and I really couldn't? I could drive my car, but I really couldn't walk around and do a stand-up job. Well, disability doesn't pay
And
that much, but you can work a little bit on disability. So what do you
then
do?
you'd be fucked.
So what do you do? Well, you can't really walk that much, but you can drive a car.
Right.
Guess what I'm doing? And that's what gig work does. I mean, it's not being used the right way, but it opens up so many opportunities and so many windows for independence of a broken system that it's just awesome. The pay's not that
Yeah.
great, but it can be that great. It depends how much you're willing to work and how much you're willing to do. You get paid for the
Right.
work
Like
you do.
gig work is not meant for the lazy. Gig work is meant for the go 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 type of people that are like, okay, I'm gonna do my regular job, but give me as much. Like some people, like Uber, depending before this whole virus,
Yeah.
basically made the economy go to shit. I talked to some people who, before they ended up in, your regular call center job, they did Uber, and that was actually their job. They were making enough from that.
Oh yeah. And here's the thing. Uber's cheaper than a taxi. And sometimes nicer than a taxi,
Yep.
depending on where you're going. Now, here's the one thing though I was gonna say. Gig work is for people who aren't afraid of the hustle. Like me, I'm not really afraid of the hustle. Now, granted, I don't really have the hustle about putting a bunch of effort into this podcast or other things I do here that I don't make any money off of. Because unfortunately, my hustle is kind of tied to making money. Go figure.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm not afraid of hustle.
you still do it because, you like doing it, and we're not exactly doing it like 8 hours a day or anything.
Oh no, if I was doing this, if we were doing this to make money and putting a real effort into this, we would have a much nicer image up here, and there would be blog talk radio and big setup and hours and
And
hours of pre-work every week. And
we would definitely not be doing this unless we had at least like 100K subs. Just know that.
yeah, this is not a
lucrative thing.
No, it actually costs us money to do it. Well, at least me.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't cost me that much money. It cost me money in my mic I bought, which I kind of wanted anyways.
I mean, you were still going to use that for, like, your gaming and shit, right?
Oh, yeah, gaming, other videos I make. So it's not like I don't use the stuff for other things. So,
right.
I mean, the only thing it's really cost me is the SoundCloud account, which I have not updated in forever with new episodes because I suck at that.
Yeah.
But, that's the price you pay for doing it on the cheap and not, doing this for a bunch of money. And we're not even getting any listeners really through SoundCloud, so it's not, like a big deal. It's kind of more like, here's our archive to go listen to it in the car. We don't have an audience for that at the moment. If we had hundreds and thousands of listeners every episode, then I'd probably be right on top of getting that over to SoundCloud.
But as of right now,
As of right now, it's not really worth
not
my
really
time
a priority
to make it a priority, especially since because the way we do this and because the way Windows 10 is, because here's the thing, on Windows 7, I could record things a certain way to get the audio. Well, with Windows 10, I have to go on YouTube for live ones. I have to download the video off of YouTube. Then I have to go into VLC player and rip the audio out of it, then upload it to SoundCloud. It's not as easy as upload this and then upload to SoundCloud.
Right.
I have to split everything up. And it's time consuming. So with that being said, my desire to do that
is less.
Exactly.
And plus you're still working, so.
Yeah, I'm still working at least 24 hours a week. And once I find out what's going on with the unemployment, I'll be working more. Essentially, and then I gotta get my butt in gear about what I want to do with this channel, get the channel grown, get the video games recorded so I can get a following, so maybe I can get some of our viewers out there to start donating to the Patreon, which would be awesome, by the way. Little shameless plug for ourselves. We don't plug it that often anymore.
No.
We used to plug it all the time, but I don't like e-begging. But if you guys do have the, the spare income and wouldn't mind, being nice and thumbing a few bucks every month our way, that'd be awesome. As usual, links in the description below. But unfortunately, because I don't have that many patrons, my rewards that I put out there for our Patreon, or my Patreon, it's not our Patreon, but obviously if you guys tell me you went to Patreon because of this podcast, I would both send Laura some of the money that we got off the Patreon, because she's my co-host. But I haven't really worked on a lot of the Patreon content because no one subscribed on the Patreon. There's no one there to do it, and I really don't know what to do with it. I also have a subscribe star set up. But here's my thing. I can go right now. I have 4 levels on Patreon. The first level is Noob Gamer, which is exclusive is join Patreon community, Patreon only content feed, and my poet segments, which I was doing this for a while, that I was doing poetry, and I was reading my poetry, and I called it Poet.
Well, that sounds interesting.
And it was me, and I had a black and white filter on it and all that sort of stuff while I was reading it.
Someone that I watch who does, I got my inspiration for the title Overtime. Technically his podcasty thing that he does is called The Night Shift. Well, he does something called The Poet's Corner. And he does like a video of him like reading a poet segment that he made out of society.
We're actually getting a little bit on the time here, Laura. So I just want to finish going through the stuff so people can kind of know what we're doing, what I do with the Patreon.
Oh yeah.
And then we're then going to pre-record another episode for a few weeks in the future about meditation, yoga, that sort of thing, and maybe we can bring up some more what you think of these things in that episode. But
yeah,
the Noob Gamer is $5 a month. FPS Console Gamer, first-person shooter console gamer, is $10 a month. That's you join the Patreon community, you get the only feed, the poet segments, and you get exclusive Let's Plays and an exclusive web series. I haven't figured out what that exclusive web series will be. It's just, an idea. Once I get people do that, then I'll start really working on that as a thing. Because if I don't have any patrons, I don't see the point in, making the thing. Then you get $20 a month, which is the PC Master Race. Then you got the joint, everything from the other ones, plus you get blog posts. You can vote for my Let's Play schedule on the Six Ring Gaming channel, and shoutouts, as in I'd shout out whoever the new patrons are. Then you have the $60 per month, which is the South Korean StarCraft player. We'll be adding more rewards to this one as I grow and have more stuff to offer. So it's all that stuff, plus exclusive reviews and Let's Play requests, Steam game giveaways, your channel name in all video descriptions, and a chance to appear on the channel. So
how would they appear on the channel? Just question. Like, you put the shout out, or like we'd say their name or something?
No, so like, let's say you're a patron and you have your own YouTube channel that you make videos. You would have a chance for you to put a guest video on the channel.
Oh, okay.
So there'll be a chance so that you could get exposure through my channel.
Gotcha.
As a reward, there'll be like a random thing. Hey, they get to be a guest on the channel. It's one of those things. Or they could show up and join me in a multiplayer of a Let's Play, or come on the podcast, something like that. So
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's not guaranteed. It's just a chance. Like, it might happen, it might not. depending on who we choose, depending on, if they really want to do it, whatever. It's, like the Steam giveaways would probably be like a monthly thing where I take a $10 Steam game every month and I find one and then I just go through everyone in the $60 mark and say, that one gets it. And of course, I do require proof of age and whatnot for the giveaways for legal purposes.
Right.
And whatnot. So there's all that stuff. But I haven't gotten any patrons yet, and I do need to work out more what I'm going to be doing with it before I really go into stuff, because to be quite honest, I probably should have some of this stuff already recorded, already on Patreon with a backlog, so that when people start to get on there, they are already getting the rewards. So by waiting on them to start being patrons, I'm probably cheating them a little bit. So, but with that being said, we're out of time for this episode. We're at an hour. Thank you guys for watching. Our one viewer who has been concurrent and one like. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will clap for you now.
Thank you for watching the show. We appreciate it. Please tell your friends. We need to grow this show so that we might be able to get some more viewers and get ourselves some more, I want to say, incentive to do better with the show.
Yes, we eventually do in the future want to make this a more visual thing. Right now it's audio only. If we could grow this to be big enough where even
what we would really like to do is to grow our stuff to be big enough that we could potentially live off it and do this stuff full time.
Yeah,
and if
even if it meant we would like video chat it and show the recording that way, or I visit Tony like once a month and we like bust out a bunch of content, whatever.
Yeah,
we eventually want to grow it to be that big.
If we were able to make a living, take care of our debts, and have some extra side money to invest in this thing, and equipment, programs, there's a lot of powerful stuff on here that we could use to make this better that I just don't have the money to purchase right now. So if we could get that viewership, that would be awesome. But as I've always said, these videos will never be monetized.
Nope.
All video content on this channel and all podcasts are exclusively funded by myself, Laura, and our Patreon supporters. So we don't do these podcasts. We do not do endorsements from products. We do not do advertisement. We do not do product placement. If you're an advertiser looking for that, don't come here. If there's a product we like, we'll mention it. But we're not doing it we're not getting paid to do it.
No.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys can join us later on for either the next bonus episode or next week's episode, which has already been recorded and scheduled to come out next Sunday. I hope you were able to watch and enjoy our previous video that was our normal release today. And have a good one.
Bye!
Stay safe.